Hi, I'm Jason, 29, and last week I caught my mother-in-law installing a baby monitor in my bedroom, because she had a feeling something was wrong. I always thought the stories about overbearing in-laws were exaggerated. You know, the clichés: mother-in-law rearranging the kitchen, passive-aggressive jabs at Thanksgiving, weird gifts for your dog. I figured those were sitcom things. Until I married Emily. Don't get me wrong. I love Emily. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. Smart, funny, patient, and somehow still with me even though I once microwaved a fork. But her mother, Linda? Linda thinks privacy is a suggestion, boundaries are hurtful. And my life is just an unorganized drawer she's here to sort out. It started with the thermostat. Emily and I had just moved into our 2-bedroom apartment in Seattle, a cozy spot near Green Lake, not fancy but ours. Linda came by to see the new place and ended up just adjusting a few things. By a few things, I mean the thermostat was set to 78, half the kitchen utensils had been rearranged, and our IKEA couch now had 2 throw pillows she brought from home. Yours were too flat, she explained, as if that was a crime. I rolled with it. For the sake of peace. For Emily. And because I thought maybe, it was a one-time thing. It wasn't. 2 weeks later, she showed up unannounced while I was working from home. Let herself in with the spare key we gave Emily's dad for emergencies. I figured you'd be lonely, she said, handing me a thermos of chicken soup like she was Florence Nightingale, and I was recovering from surgery, not managing client calls with headphones on. I started to keep track. She came over 6 times in 11 days. Each time she'd fix something. Move furniture slightly, adjust our spice rack alphabetically, which I'll admit was actually kind of useful. Once even swapped out our towels for new ones she found on sale. I asked Emily to talk to her. Emily tried. I heard the conversation. Calm, direct, reasonable. Linda responded by crying and asking if we were throwing her out of our lives. She then baked us banana bread and left it in the mailbox with a note that said, "Still love you both. I'm just a mom." I thought that was the peak. The moment. The banana bread lying in the sand. Until the baby monitor. I came home early from work because I left my laptop charger behind and was dying in a meeting. Walked into our bedroom and saw her crouched behind our dresser, screwdriver in hand, trying to wedge something into the wall outlet. I stood in the doorway, just blinking. "Linda?" She turned slowly, like I'd caught her sneaking into Fort Knox. "Oh. Jason! I didn't hear you come in. I was just... What is that?" She stood up, all innocent smile and maternal concern. "It's just a baby monitor. The video kind. Very subtle. I got a great deal." I was worried. Emily's been looking pale lately, and I just thought, in case anything happens while you're sleeping. I was silent. For a long time. Long enough that even she started to look nervous. Then I said something I never thought I'd say to my wife's mother. "You need to leave. Right now." And somehow, that was still not the worst part. She left in tears. I locked the door behind her, stared at the monitor still half plugged into our outlet, and just stood there wondering if this counted as some kind of crime. Like, was I allowed to call the police on a woman who bakes banana bread and commits low-level surveillance? Probably not. I didn't tell Emily right away. I know I should have. But she was already stressed. New job, her brother was going through a divorce, and she'd been talking about wanting to start trying for a baby soon. The last thing I wanted was to blow up her already delicate peace treaty with her mom. Instead, I did something dumb. I returned the baby monitor to Linda's front porch with a note that said, "Boundaries. Let's try them." No signature, no explanation. I thought maybe that was enough. A gentle push. A nudge. Wrong. The next morning, I woke up to find a new set of sheets on our bed. Not our sheets. Striped ones. I don't own striped sheets. Neither does Emily. And I sure as hell didn't put them there. She'd been back. I ran straight to the front door. No sign of forced entry. Our locks were untouched. The spare key? Still in the junk drawer. But something felt off. Then I opened the fridge and found 3 identical Tupperware containers labeled, "For Jason, protein lunch." At that point, I was no longer dealing with an overly affectionate mother-in-law. I was dealing with a stealth operative who'd made herself a regular in our home like it was part of her daily cardio. Emily walked into the kitchen just as I was mid-rant, gesturing with one of the Tupperwares like I was hosting a cooking show for the emotionally violated. "Okay, what happened?" she asked, blinking at me like I was malfunctioning. I hesitated. "Please don't get mad." "Why would I get mad?" "Because your mom installed a baby monitor in our bedroom and then broke in again while we were asleep and changed our sheets." Emily blinked. Once. Twice. Then she sat down at the kitchen table like her knees gave out. "She did what?" I explained everything, every awkward encounter, every coated casserole, the new sheets, the baby monitor, the note I left. She didn't speak the entire time. Just stared into the middle distance like she was watching her childhood collapse into a flaming pile of guilt and throw pillows. She said she was trying to be helpful. I finished. Emily was quiet for another beat. Then she muttered. She said she was blessing the bed. I thought she meant with new linens for us. I choked. She blessed our bed? She's been going to this weird meditation group lately. I didn't even know how to respond to that. That night, Emily called her. I didn't hear the conversation, but I heard the aftermath. Shouting. Tears. Something about how Jason clearly doesn't appreciate effort. And maybe I shouldn't care so much if you both starve. And finally, I'm just being a mother. But Linda didn't come over the next day. Or the one after that. For a week, it was silent. Then, on day 8, I opened the mailbox and found something that made my blood run cold. A new set of keys. With a sticky note attached. In case of emergencies. Love, Mom. I stared at the keys like they were cursed. Like if I touched them, I'd wake up tied to a rocking chair being spoon-fed soup until I confessed I was too skinny for a grown man. Emily was just getting out of the shower when I brought the envelope in. I held it up wordlessly, like I'd just disarmed a bomb. Her eyes went wide the moment she saw the note. No. No, no, no. I told her. I explicitly told her. She bought new keys. I said. She made copies. She told me she didn't even have the old spare anymore. Maybe she melted them down and made a commemorative plate. Emily groaned, dragging her hands down her face. Okay. Okay. We're changing the locks. Today. I'm calling the landlord. You call your friend Will. He's the one who installs security cameras, right? Yup. He owes me a favor. I helped him move a treadmill up 4 flights of stairs in July. We spent the next 6 hours converting our apartment into something between a panic room and a military bunker. Will came over with 2 mini cameras and helped us install them above the door and in the hallway. We installed a keypad lock with fingerprint access. I considered electrifying the doorknob, but Emily said that might be a little much. By dinner, the place was secure. And I mean secure. Fort Knox would have felt inadequate. Emily called Linda one more time. I sat on the couch and listened in silence. Mom, you made unauthorized keys to our apartment. That's not love. That's crossing a line. A pause. No, I'm not overreacting. You can't just break into people's homes because you had a dream they were cold. Another pause. Because I didn't ask for new sheets. Because they had your initials monogrammed into them. Because Jason thought we were being haunted. That one stung a little. When she hung up, Emily looked utterly drained. She walked over and collapsed onto the couch beside me. She said she was just trying to make it easier for us. That eventually we'll thank her. I told her if she shows up again uninvited, I'm going no contact. Did she listen? She said, "You're welcome," and hung up. Great. 3 days of peace followed. Then came the incident at the grocery store. I was standing in line at checkout, minding my own business, when I spotted her, Linda, down the aisle, wearing sunglasses and a wide-brimmed hat like she was hiding from the paparazzi. She was peeking around the end cap of canned beans, watching me. I stared at her. She ducked. I stared harder. She peeked again. I slowly reached for my phone and texted Emily. Me, your mom is stalking me in Safeway. I'm not joking. Emily, are you sure? Linda popped out, pretending to browse pasta sauce. I waved. She dropped a jar and scurried away like a squirrel that had been caught in the pantry. Me, she just dropped Classico on her foot. I think she's limping. Emily called me 30 seconds later, practically shrieking. Do not approach her. She's hiding behind the rotisserie chicken display. I swear to God, Jason. Just buy the eggs and leave. I feel like I should try to tag her with a GPS tracker. Jason. I left. Swiftly. Chickenless. That night, Linda texted both of us. Ran into Jason today. Funny coincidence. Thought he looked tired. Hope he's getting enough sleep. I stared at the screen, jaw hanging open. Coincidence? I muttered. She followed me like a mall cop chasing a teenager with a skateboard. Emily rubbed her temples. This is getting out of hand. But we had no idea what out of hand really looked like. Not until we got the voicemail. It was Saturday morning. Emily was making pancakes, and I was doing absolutely nothing productive when her phone buzzed. Voicemail from a number we didn't recognize. She put it on speaker. Hi, this is Amanda from Seattle Child Wellness. I'm just calling to confirm your tour on Monday at 10 a.m. with your son, Jaden. If you need to reschedule, let us know. Silence. We looked at each other. Jaden? I said. We don't have a son, Emily whispered. My stomach dropped. I opened the back door. Our patio now had a sandbox. A literal sandbox. With a sign on it that said, Welcome, Jaden! We stood there in our pajamas, staring at the sandbox like it might explode. It had a tiny plastic shovel, a mini dump truck, a beach pail, and a laminated sign that read, Welcome, Jaden! Grandma loves you! I can't, Emily stammered. We don't even own patio furniture. Where did she even get sand? I think the better question is, who the hell is Jaden? I don't know. She's never even mentioned that name before. I walked toward the sandbox, cautiously, like it might bite me. I was halfway there when I saw the note. Folded paper tucked under the dump truck. It read, You'll thank me when the baby arrives. Preparation is everything. Love, Mom. I turned around slowly. She thinks we're expecting? Emily's eyes widened with horror. Oh God. She thinks we're pregnant. Well, we're definitely not. I know that, Jason. The same second, we both realized the most terrifying part of this scenario. She signed us up for a tour at a child wellness center. I said slowly. That means she gave them our names. And our number. And probably an entire fake backstory. Emily whispered. I opened the voicemail again. Played it back. Tour on Monday at 10 a.m. with your son, Jaden. We stood there in stunned silence, then turned toward each other. This is psychological warfare, I said. It's premeditated insanity, Emily corrected. She took a shaky breath and reached for her phone. I'm calling her. I reached out and stopped her. Wait. Don't. If you confront her now, she'll spin it. She'll say she was just trying to surprise us. Or help. Or prepare for the someday baby. Emily clenched her jaw. What do we do then? She's pretending we have a child. She created a child. From scratch. With a name and play area and enrollment in a childcare center. We can't just let this slide. Then what? I took a deep breath. We fight weird with weirder. Her brow furrowed. What does that mean? It means, we hire an actor. She stared. Someone to pretend to be Jaden. She stared harder. I grinned. You want her to think we have a child? Let's give her one. A terrifyingly independent, boundary-enforcing nightmare of a child who hates hugs and calls her Linda instead of Grandma. I love this idea. An hour later, I was texting a friend of mine from college who now ran a local improv theater. I explained the situation. No sugarcoating. Just the raw, unhinged truth. He replied instantly. I have a kid actor who's 10 but looks 6. He can do a British accent and cry on command. His name is Milo. You want him? I turned to Emily. His name is Milo. She nodded solemnly. He is Jaden now. By Sunday, Milo had been fully briefed. We printed out a fake family tree. Created a fictional therapy support hamster named Cheddar. Bought a second-hand stroller on Craigslist. This operation had budget. This operation had layers. Monday morning, we showed up to the Child Wellness Center as scheduled. Milo now. Jaden wore a dinosaur backpack and a scowl that could curdle milk. We walked in holding his hands like proud, completely unhinged parents. Linda was already there. In the waiting room. With a camcorder. She gasped when she saw us. Oh my goodness! You are here. You didn't tell me. I smiled brightly. We wanted to surprise you. Emily played her role perfectly. Meet Jaden. He's not much for hugs. Milo, sorry, Jaden, narrowed his eyes at her and said, in a crisp British accent, I don't like cameras. Cameras steal your dreams. Linda blinked. Jaden walked right past her, sat cross-legged on the floor, and started muttering to Cheddar the hamster, invisible, of course, about surveillance patterns. Linda looked like she'd just been hit by a tranquilizer dart. It was glorious. Linda didn't speak for a full 30 seconds. Just stood there, holding her camcorder midair like her brain needed time to reboot. Jaden, our British accented, camera-hating, dream-paranoid fake child, was now poking at a ficus in the waiting room, whispering, They're listening through the plants. Milo was earning his pay. I gave him an approving nod. He gave me a thumbs up behind his back and hissed at the receptionist. Emily cleared her throat and put on her most maternal voice. Sorry, he's in a phase. Linda finally blinked and slowly turned to us. He's British. Emily nodded solemnly. His accent really came out after the speech therapy. It's a part of his emotional regulation. Linda's mouth opened, then closed, like a trout struggling to understand Wi-Fi. Then she looked at me. Jason, you didn't tell me about him. I mean, when was he born? I feigned confusion. Born? Oh no. We found him. Linda blinked. I'm sorry? We found him. I repeated calmly. In a forest. He had a stick and was building something. No one knows where he came from. It was like fate. Jaden crawled under the receptionist's desk and yelled, The hamsters will rise. Linda took a physical step back. The receptionist, bless her soul, looked mildly horrified but also incredibly entertained. We had him evaluated, Emily added. He's a very unique child. Gifted. Boundary sensitive. We're raising him with a strong emphasis on consent and quantum theory. Linda looked like she was going to pass out. This isn't real. You're making this up. I can feel it. I took a slow step toward her and lowered my voice like I was telling a ghost story. We wanted you to meet him before he returns to his village. What village? Emily placed a hand on Linda's shoulder. He doesn't stay with us long. He has his own rules. Linda's jaw dropped. Jaden popped out from under the desk and stared at her. I know what you've done, he said in a whisper. Linda gasped. You rearranged the bedroom. He continued, eyes wide. You replaced the sheets. You walked in without knocking. You spoke to Cheddar. He remembers everything. Emily turned away so she wouldn't laugh. I started fake crying, just to add to the chaos. I told you this would happen, I sobbed. He's bonded with the walls now. We can't move again. Linda clutched her purse like it might protect her from the psychic powers of a fictional 6-year-old. Then Jaden held out a sticky note and placed it in her hand. It read, I have seen you. I do not approve. Linda whispered. He writes notes. He communicates exclusively through post-its and interpretive dance, Emily said, not missing a beat. At that point, Linda made the fastest retreat I've ever seen. Didn't even say goodbye. Just mumbled something about needing to call her spiritual advisor, and power walked out of the building like she was being hunted. Jaden watched her go, then walked up to me and asked, Can I get a milkshake now? You've earned 5, buddy. We high-fived. Emily nearly collapsed with laughter. The receptionist clapped. That night, Linda sent a single text. I'm going to give you some space. Clearly, there are things going on I don't understand. We framed that message. Literally framed it. It's hanging in our hallway next to Jaden's portrait, which Milo drew with crayon during his milkshake celebration. Peace lasted 2 full weeks. Then one morning, we got an email from the leasing office. Apparently, a concerned relative had reported that a possibly abandoned child named Jaden was living in our unit, unsupervised and conducting rituals. The attached photo? A blurry image of Jaden, Milo, standing in our apartment doorway during pickup. Holding Cheddar. Wearing a cape. My phone buzzed. A new voicemail from Linda. I know what you're doing. This little game? It's gone far enough. I'll see you both Sunday for dinner. No more tricks. I looked at Emily. She's onto us. Emily nodded grimly. We'll have to go nuclear. The phrase, go nuclear, should never be taken lightly. But when you're facing off against a woman who installed a sandbox in your backyard for a fictional grandchild and then reported said child to the building manager, well, sometimes scorched earth is the only way. We held a war council in our living room that night. Emily. Me. Milo, still riding high from his last performance. And Stephanie, my cousin/crisis strategist who once fake dated a man for 6 months just to get out of her HOA dues. She's escalating, Stephanie said, sipping boxed wine like it was battle juice. She's starting to catch on, which means your options are limited. You've got 2 plays, full confession and fallout, or one final, soul-crushing, reality-shattering move that'll break her psychic hold on your household forever. I blinked. So, like an exorcism? Worse. You give her what she wants. And then you take it away. Emily leaned in. You mean, give her Jaden? Stephanie grinned. Exactly. You let her babysit. I nearly fell out of my chair. You want us to let her be alone with Milo? Only for an hour. Controlled environment. Hidden cameras. Milo does his thing. She gets exactly what she thought she wanted, then screams into the void for 75 straight minutes and begs you to take him back. Milo, who had been playing Candy Crush on silent, perked up. Can I speak in tongues? I pointed at him. Only if you also do a Gregorian chant. He nodded solemnly. I'll need a cloak. We set the trap for Sunday. Linda, of course, arrived early. She was dressed like she was auditioning for The Bachelor, Grandparent Edition. Hair curled, makeup flawless, a pink apron already tied around her waist. I brought homemade fruit leather. She beamed. Jaden's favorites. Of course, I said. He's been anticipating you. Emily managed to keep a straight face as she handed over a massive bag of Jaden's essentials, which included 4 post-it notebooks, a framed photo of Cheddar, the support hamster, a custom, emotional reset cloak, basically a bathrobe, and a laminated list of rules including no sudden noises, no mention of lawnmowers, do not call him sport. Linda took the bag without question. Her hands were visibly trembling with excitement. Where is my little guy? Jaden stepped into view wearing his cloak, a monocle, and rain boots. He extended his hand and said, I've been expecting you, Linda. Not Grandma. Not even Mrs. Taylor. Linda. Her smile faltered for a half-second. We left. But not really. Stephanie and I were watching from a laptop in the coffee shop across the street. 2 hidden nanny cams, one in the bookshelf, one in a fake succulent, gave us a full view of the living room. Milo/Jaden wasted no time. Within the first 10 minutes he had demanded Linda draw a protective circle in chalk on the living room carpet. Informed her that Cheddar had chosen his vessel, and it might be the blender. Played a recorder with the breath control of a demon and the melody of a dying goose. Stared at her for a full minute without blinking and whispered, Your aura smells like boiled cabbage. Linda tried. Credit where it's due. She read him a story. He corrected the plot to include alternate endings, where the fox dies tragically. She offered him snacks. He demanded raw flour and a pinch of courage. She suggested a nap. Jaden lay down flat on the floor and fake snored so loud it knocked over a picture frame. By minute 32, Linda was visibly sweating. At minute 45, she called Emily. Hi, sweetheart, she said, her voice cracked and trembling. Jaden is intense. Oh? He seems fine with us. Emily replied innocently. Hi. He made me take an oath using a peanut butter spoon. And? He says the walls are listening. He's rearranged the furniture into a star. He's humming. Emily waited. I don't think I can do this, Linda whispered. I'm not equipped for whatever this is. We gave it 15 more minutes. Jaden's piece de resistance? He handed her a note that said, Cheddar says you've failed the test. He's displeased. When we picked him up, Linda looked like she just survived a minor exorcism and a 4-hour timeshare presentation. I think maybe I've been too involved, she said, blinking rapidly. Emily hugged her. That's very self-aware, Mom. I clapped Milo on the back. You, my friend, are getting 2 milkshakes. Jaden bowed slightly. Cheddar is pleased. Linda didn't speak to us for 3 days after. Jaden. Then came an email. Polite. Apologetic. She said she'd overstepped. Said she'd deleted the keys, called off the wellness center, and even apologized to Cheddar. It felt like closure. For a few months, everything was normal. Real, peaceful normal. No surprise visits. No monogram towels. She texted before calling. Asked before dropping by. We actually relaxed. Then one morning, Emily came out of the bathroom holding a pregnancy test. 2 pink lines. A real baby. Not an actor. Not a prank. Ours. We stared at each other, both thinking the same thing, don't tell Linda yet. So we didn't. We set up the nursery. Attended appointments. Cherished the quiet. And when Ivy was born, perfect and squinting like she already didn't trust us, we smiled. Emily posted a photo. Captioned it simply, "She's here." Linda called 14 seconds later. Screaming. Crying. Laughing. "Is it too soon to drop off the sandbox again?"